There's a new trailer for Wheel of Time. However, I do not have high hopes for Wheel of Time. Basically, everything Amazon makes is pure garbage. A lot of it is just grandstanding, grandiose for SJW agenda stuff. I don't want to say liberal, because there's a lot of stuff like liberal stuff that I believe in, and it also makes me seem like conservative when I'm not. There's a lot of conservative stuff I don't believe in either. I'm somewhere in between and a centrist. Usually pretty central on issues. But yeah, a lot of it's just basically, hey, we don't have anything to write about, so let's write about what's happening right now in the real life and make loose, very, very loose comparisons, if not just no comparisons, just literally just relive some past events that we need everyone to learn about right now. It's fucking terrible shit. Most TV shows are like that right now, so. I suspect we're going to see a lot of that in Wheel of Time, which is sad because I really like Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time is a fantastic book, but Robert Jordan is oftentimes referred to as being sexist, which is kind of the case in his books, because imagine what gender roles were like in like medieval times. Weird, huh? Fucking weird. And how women were treated in medieval times. Very much tries to make things more realistic rather than pandering to masses, and people nowadays just want stuff that panders to them. They don't want a good story. They just want something that will cater to their own internal, like, agenda. Their own internal clock. Oh. Take a peek. Yes.
Be strong. The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass.
His entire cast is basically white people, by the way.
Leaving memories
but
that become legend.
They've already changed that. A lot of them are white.
The power inside you. All over the world, there are different names for it. But it's one thing. One power. And women who can touch it. We protect the world.
If they tell this right, guys, this is going to completely... People are going to talk about this for decades. Like, literally the next Lord of the Rings, more so than that.
One pain we face, one heartbreak, the wheel keeps turning.
The Dark One is coming for your friends.
I really hope they don't start spoiling shit.
The only thing that matters is what you do.
Whatever happens now, there's no turning back.
It really should be like one season per book, and there's like fucking 15 books. If it's half as good as the books, guys, this is gonna be fucking fantastic. And I would make a comparison to Game of Thrones, except Game of Thrones is fucking terrible. So, yeah. Like, Game of Thrones was good. It like went like this. My opinion on Game of Thrones went like this. And then after, like right at season 8, it did one of these things. It didn't just go down. It literally turned in on itself and went back and ate my prior opinions on the season. Like, I've never had a series do that to me, by the way, where it literally retroactively made me hate earlier seasons of Game of Thrones. Yeah, I've never done it. It's impossible in TV, guys, and like of everything, and like entertainment. It went like this, like it was ramping up, and then season 8 hit, and it went like, what? And then it went like, didn't go down, it didn't go straight down, it went back in time on a frequency curve. It went back in time and made me hate what I just watched. Like, it readjusted the time curve, like the time continuum of entertainment. Like, that's what season 8 did to me of Game of Thrones. Like, it was so bad that it somehow readjusted my earlier opinions on the show. Like, redid my earlier like, opposite direction in time, like went back in time and just like destroyed my earlier opinions on the show. Fucking ridiculous. I've never had a show do that, and I love talking about it because Game of Thrones season 8 is fucking terrible. Beyond terrible. Like they didn't just fuck the pooch, they fucked the earlier seasons too. They didn't just screw the pooch, they literally just, oh god, everything like this like character stood for just literally just obliterated. Just like fucking made no sense whatsoever, like writing at like the 4th grade levels shit. Just no sense. And it pains me when people compare Wheel of Time to Game of Thrones. It never should be compared to each other. Specifically, the HBO series of Wheel of Time, obviously. Because we're talking about live action entertainment, not specifically the books, because R.R. Martin was literally just labbing. Is it R.R. Martin? R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin, yeah. R.R. Martin was literally just laughing himself silly when he realized what HBO did to the end of the series. They made their own unique ending, and it was fucking terrible. It was so bad. Oh, God. Beyond bad. But this literally could be, depending on how well they stick to the source material, like I said, they're already starting to adjust races and shit like this. So, yeah. Yeah, like we're like, they're already readjusting the races of the cast, because why would we stick to the source material that the author actually wrote? Right? And once again, it's Amazon, and Amazon, if they do enough of this shit, is literally going to make the series fucking dog shit. Because like I mentioned, there is a lot of stereotypes. There's racism, stereotypes, and all that good shit that's part of real life is in the series of books, because he was sticking to real, like, how people act in real life, not fucking mannequins that you're sitting there in your Barbie house going like, doo-doo-doo, oh no, Ken has to interact with Barbie in a certain way. Oh my god, we need more people of certain ethnicities in this cast. You know, shit like that. Oh my god. Fucking, it literally just like, oftentimes in TV series, it literally just feels like people are just, it's like someone's Barbie playhouse, like just going to town. And we'll see. I mean, they could still replace basically all the races with whatever the fuck they want, as long as they stick to the source material. Like, it doesn't, and they can actually, you know, have metaphors for what was actually written in the books, then it'll be good. But if they literally just strip everything out, there's going to be nothing left. The husk of a book is literally just going to be another Lord of the Rings. It's just going to be exactly like Lord of the Rings, and there's going to be no difference. One of the things that makes Robert Jordan, there you go. One of the things that makes Robert Jordan's work so fucking good, and why a lot of people love it, really, you'll either really love it or you really hate it, is it's very verbose, and it is very detailed on everything that he thought was important in the series. Extremely detailed. And it's one of those things that really struck me as a kid. This is like one of the, I used to read a bunch of books, fantasy and sci-fi, and then I read Wheel of Time, and no other book after that point, read a couple after that, no other series of books appealed to me. They just were terrible. They're just, it seemed like people just half-assing stories when I read everything else. It was so detailed, so vivid world that Robert Jordan wrote, that there's no way that I could handle reading more books. It killed it for me. That was in high school, was the last time I basically read books for, like, I've done a lot of technical reading, sure, especially in college days. But that's basically when it ended me reading for fun, and reading takes a lot of time and effort in the first place. But that's basically where I ended with reading, was in high school, because I found it in middle school, and then I finished reading them in high school, and there was just nothing, it wasn't there anymore.
The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend.
The race swapped Eugene, Perrin, and Navan. Naive?
There are different names for it.
So they've already basically readjusted 3 of the main cast.
One power, and women who can touch it. We protect the world.
No matter what happens,
face.
What a surprise, even though we know there's no logical reason whatsoever in a medieval setting where there's somehow multiple races of people living in one village, especially in the fact that Rand, that's one of the main characters, by the way, there's multiple main characters. Especially when Rand does not have the same looks or general features as everyone else around him is a massive plot point. It is. About his origin or parentage. There are now people of several races living in the same village. Rand's features are now meaningless because he's now no more different from Matt or Perrin than the random black villager down the road. Fine fucking job torpedoing the series before it even starts for the sake of diversity points. Even more so, gailing that there are people of other races in the books. Shinshan is an entire continent of black people, and characters from there, including Matt's future wife, are black. A spoiler, by the way. Yeah. It just like, imagine, guys, imagine that you are basically the son of the mailman, and you don't look anything like your parents, but that's normal because you're literally, it's written that you're basically the son of the mailman, right? You were basically the wife. It's not an exact metaphor, but basically your mom fucked the mailman and your dad is not the mailman, and you look different because your mom fucked the mailman. Weird, right? Yeah, weird. And you don't fit in any way, shape, or form to the area that you're in. And that's a defining point. But apparently for Amazon and their social compliance officers over there, they couldn't write that. So once again, hopefully they don't ruin the story too much, but there's a lot of really good stuff in Wheel of Time. So I'm actually already kind of waiting for like the remake of Wheel of Time, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to hit all the points that it needs to.
Heartbreak. The wheel keeps turning.
The Dark One is coming for your friends.
The last battle is coming. The only thing that matters is what you do.
But like I said, I'm pretty sure Amazon is going to ruin this,
Whatever
but we'll
happens
see.
now, there's no turning back.
It seems like it's starting off on the right foot. This kills me because these stories teach the consequences of prejudice to people who might not otherwise understand them. Yeah, there's a lot of racism in this story. There's racism, sexism in the story, and it doesn't always stick. There's morals to what he writes, but if you can't get past the fact that you need to have immoral and racist situations to begin with to actually, get past that, like, it's one of those things that you feel you need to correct, and this is fucking awful. Not understanding them and placing the character's shoes really struggle with trying to be accepted, but throw that out the window because we need to have more dark people in TV and film. Your story reasons don't matter to anymore, and no matter what they are, how they unfold is so asinine. I 100% agree with that. This is one of the problems. I knew this, I already read about this years ago, and it's one of the things that already is just kind of irking me. Hey, Idawin, good evening. So, once again, even though this could be really fucking cool, we already have them race swapping in order to have a more inclusive cast, when in fact, their cast is the way that they are because it's part of the fucking story. Like, meaningful reasons behind why the characters look the way that they do that Robert Jordan eventually wrote in. or decided. A lot of the stuff in the stories, like Wheel of Time, like I talk about this before, like with like certain series, like oftentimes they'll go back and try to write in like past before they happen. Robert Jordan planned a lot of his stuff, so much so that he literally wrote the books before he died. Like, he had so many notes about what was going to happen before he died that an author came in and wrote like the last 4 fucking books, which only should have been 1, wrote 4 fucking books off his notes. That's ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous. And like, there you have fucking like shills, just like randos from Amazon coming in with throwing out their like social justice cards because they don't think the cast should be this way without actually reading the books and realizing what's going to happen, because the books are long as shit. The books are literally fucking 1,000. It's like 1,000 pages per book. It's like anywhere from 800 to 1,000, sometimes more than 800 to 1,100 pages per book. It's a lot of fucking material. And you already have social compliance officers coming in and stripping that out of the series is fucking ridiculous. I don't understand this. This is like part of like what I really hate about what's happening in the world right now is it doesn't even fucking make sense. Don't worry, if they show Shin-Chan, they'll ensure the all black actors ensure the integrity of the original work. Yes, they are. They're going to make Shin-Chan white. Oh, because Shin-Chan are slave owners, you can't have black slave owners. That's a pretty true comment. Once again, I haven't read these books in years, and I just vividly remember very specific parts of like each one of the books. And I think this might have been in the later books because I don't remember Shin-Chan. Let's see. What book did they appear in? Across the Errant Ocean. Yeah, these are the later books. Yeah, like it doesn't always coincide. Doesn't always coincide with like today's moral standards, right? Like you can't have black slave owners. Yeah. Fucking ridiculous. Let's see. Does they have the book they appeared in? Yeah, like Robert Jonah, like I said, there are definitely segments of racism, sexism, bias, like everything you can imagine, all the bad shit in the world he puts into his books because it actually is a point. And it's not that it's always good that you have these things either. It's not like he just writes that it's good that it happens. Fucking weird. And I really hope Amazon doesn't completely strip this series, but I very much feel like this is going to be the case. Is like I said, I'm already looking forward to a remake of this series. Do they have the book they're first featured in? References 9. Winter's Heart. I think this is the last book I wrote. Or not wrote. This is the last book I read. No, this is when his wife appeared. There's like 15 books. No, maybe not 15. I think it's 13 or 14 books. Yeah. They're gonna make Shinchan white. I just know they are. The reason because Shinchan are slave owners and you can't have black slave owners. Sounds like they're in a corner then. Either make it so they claim non-whites can be slave owners or whitewash them. Either way, you're gonna have pissed off ideologues. Yes. Or it's just gonna be the usual fetish material black. So not with Amazon. Amazon is super PC. It's actually kind of funny. We're talking about Amazon in terms of social ideological beliefs. Yeah, well, we can predict what they're going to write based on their social ideological beliefs and how they perpetuate themselves. If I remember, Shinshan is just large or larger than the main content in the story, and people who have different looks. One of the main Shinshan characters is black, but her Shinshan mate is blue eyes and blonde. Her maid. House slave. You can't even say slave anymore. In reference to a story, you can't even talk about slaves in a story. You think that the series will be successful enough to get to the point where the story actually, if they condense the books, if they start condensing the books, it's gonna be fucking bad. There's no way. There is so much material. It's not like a 300-page book, guys. There is so much material in each one of the books. It literally, each book needs its own season, and there's a lot of books. I don't know. It might be good. It might be good. Like, we just watched the trailer. This might be good. We can watch the trailer again. But Amazon really fucks up shit that they are very hard on social compliance. So I don't think they're going to be able to properly convey Robert Jordan's material at all. This isn't going to be like Game of Thrones either. Like, they can't do it. I would have had higher hopes if HBO wrote this. Much higher hopes if HBO or any of the premium TV, most specifically HBO. Much higher hopes.
Be strong.
But Amazon's doing this.
The wheel
Like, it
of
looks
time
good.
Turns.
But then, as was just written in, as was written on the Reddits there, this is supposed to be an all-white village, and we already have our diversity cast in the all-white village. I think the only exception was literally Rand, which is one of the reasons he stands out.
And ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend.
Imagine certain parts of the world, guys, literally having specific ethnicities. Fucking weird, I know. Depending on where you go in the U.S., that's the same thing, by the way.
The power inside you.
Yeah, it's very gimmicky.
All over
It's
the
like what
world,
happens
there are
when you can't
different
write a
names
story.
for it. But it's one thing. One power. And women who can touch it. We protect the world.
But this is only part of the story, and if they get half of this right, it is still going to be fucking fantastic. Because this is only part of it. But if they whitewash too much of it, if they cleanse and sterilize too much of this series, it's not going to convey what it needs to be. It's just going to be another Game of Thrones or
The wheel keeps
Wheel
turning.
of Time.
The Dark One is coming for your friends.
The last battle is coming. The only thing that matters is what you do.
I really hope it's one book per season. I really do.
Whatever happens
It's supposed to
now,
start out slow.
there's no turning back.
I really, really hope it is. Makes everything that happens much more meaningful because it starts out slow. It has a climax, don't get me wrong, the first book 100% is a climax, but it starts out slow. Just, like, the goosebumps are literally from reading The Wheel of Time for myself. I just know, like, what's going to happen over the course of, like, the next 10 books. It's fucking insane. Okay, but I'm going to need a breakdown of all the horses used and shots of them being happy on the set. This is vital. I don't read books. You can, there's actually multiple audiobooks of the series if you're interested. So, my friend reread them by listening to the audiobooks while at work. So, Hope the creator that blows this up becomes the next big thing. What deserves? Yeah, there is a lot of good things from Wheel of Time, and I really hope Amazon doesn't ruin this because it's gonna fucking stick like shit. Yeah, it is visually stunning. Amazon has a huge budget, and a lot of their stuff looks really good, which is 100% true. Fucking ridiculous. So just already just completely sterilized the cast and races of the cast and changed them. I was hoping they'd back on that, and they didn't. Still going to be good. If they get half of the series, it's still going to be fucking fantastic. But if this turns in, I don't want to spoil too much for you guys because if you haven't read Wheel of Time is a fucking amazing series. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but there is a power change, I guess you could say. There's a lot of power dynamics in the books, which is really good, by the way. There's a lot of subterfuge, politics, and power dynamics. And the power dynamics are both metaphorical and literal. And there's trade-offs of power in the books. And if they don't do that because certain demographics do not end up in the most powerful position because it's not what we see right now today, that's going to piss me off. And what I mean by that is what in social media, what's not seen as the most powerful position today. And I'm not talking about what everyone memes about, but rather, it's like it's tough to not talk about like actual races and genders and stuff like that without actually like talking about like what you're specifically mentioning. But there's trade-offs of power in the series, and at first things look like they're different than they actually are, and which is one of the really cool things about the book. As things evolve and change throughout the basically meaningful universe, Bildungsroman, like actual character development and story and plotline change throughout the books. I think I need to reread the stories before this airs. 1 someone out there coming to this without any knowledge, watch the books and of the books to watch the trailer and guess who the main protagonist is. There's no way you guessed it incorrectly. There's too much time around the characters. Actually, there's actually multiple main protagonists, so this is wrong too. Yeah, I don't think it's even though they aren't the most powerful characters, they're definitely you can tell who the main protagonist is. Maybe that's also because I'm too and I read between stuff the lines too easily. It's disappointing as SETI costumes. They look like they're wearing Aja uniforms. 7 different groups of SETI, blue, yellow, red. So they're wearing the wrong type. I think this is not an as SETI is supposed to be like I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's supposed to be the actual like they're the highest rank, I believe. Foresee. How do you spell foresee? E in there. L-E. Took me 4 minutes to push play. I thought I actually, one of my friends messaged me about this trailer earlier today. He messaged me about this trailer earlier today. He loves Wheel of Time, and I didn't watch it then. It's one of these things that I'm actually very much um apprehensive about. It's one of those things that actually just makes me feel kind of fucking weird. Like I think they're gonna ruin it. That's why I'm also kind of looking forward to the remake of this. Yeah. So when they started on the book, they're actually really young. And this article, people are talking about basically the huge age difference because they're supposed to be kids, and they definitely are not kids. Those are like 20 somethings, early 20 somethings. It's tough to do. Like they, if this is one of the reasons, by the way, anime is just superior in every way, shape, or form to live action TV is because of like stuff like this. Same thing with Harry Potter, where they're supposed to age up the characters and they didn't because they grew up throughout the series. Is another one like Wheel of Time is exactly the same way. Like they're kids when they start out, and you can't have the same cast as kids and then as adults. You'd have to do an age gap, which you could do. Some people aren't as they can't handle that, but I think you should be able to. Where there's actually they should have been able to age gap the characters, meaning that they use different casts throughout the story. You could still use the same cast for older characters, but the younger characters that grow up should 100% be replaced by newer characters later on. I know that's one of those things that's tough for people to swallow, but you 100% can get people that look like other people who are younger and older. Like that's a thing because of genetics. You 100% that could definitely be a thing. You can get people that look very similar to someone else when they're older just by aging them. There's even models that are made to show how you would look if you aged, if you guys didn't know that. When you age and get older, like they can show what you look like based on your genetics when you get older. And it very realistically, like, actually shows what you look like when you age. And they could 100% find a new actor that would replace them that looks very similar to them. I don't think that's a problem. This does a great job of hiding the importance of characters. I think those who read the books will have a completely different impression of what the show will be about. And they're in for a lot of surprises, hopefully. Once again, the books move slower. 14. Oh, they aren't doing the prequel either. They could have done that. Wait, it covers 6 books? What? By some measures, the longest work of epic fantasy ever published, 12,000 pages long. Oh God, no. For 6 episodes? No, there's 8 episodes, and they're covering 2 books. What the fuck? Oh no. people are saying in one book. I could see possibly 8 episodes for one book, but that's really, once again, this isn't Robert Jordan's books are not 300 pages. They're literally close to 800 to 1,000 pages. Like, this is a huge disservice if it's only 8, if they're putting 2 books into 8 episodes. What the fuck? Some aspects of the book being cut and being used in later seasons. New Spring, I believe, was... No, that's book 2. Budget for season 1 is estimated to be 80 million USD or 10 million per episode. You like to see, that's fucking very much, Lord of the Rings. Feels like a Hobbit's village. Hobbits is... The fucking gardener that did this, look at that shit. That's amazing. So people are saying it's going to have a little bit of the second book, and mainly the first book with parts cut out and be added to later seasons. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He's talking about the prequel. There was a perfectly logical reason why there would be for the start of the books about a generation before. It wasn't. Generation is literally like 40 years, 60 years. There's a literal physical upheaval of geography. It is literally possible to have Southern Village ripped out and physically dropped in another part of the North. Most problematic of how Amazon is handling what it already defines as races. It's a very high amount of diversity, just not opening in the little village. Yeah, that's 3,000 years beforehand. I read the prologue. It was long before. Actually, we did get the prologue of Louis Theron, beginning of the breaking, but semantics is ridiculous. You're correct. Yeah, 3,000 fucking years. That's more than enough time, especially considering how long people live in medieval years, which is you're lucky if you live into your 40s and 50s. In medieval years, you're going through hundreds of generations, and there's no way people are going to look different from each other after hundreds of generations. Everyone's going to look like the same pasty color. It doesn't fucking matter, whatever that is. Ha! It's been years since I read them, so that's probably true. What the fuck? No, yeah, intermixed means they will look the same. That's what happens after 3,000 years of people fucking each other, is they look the same. Because they all interbreed with each other and they all end up looking the same. There's no diversity because everyone looks the same after fucking each other for 3,000 years. Jesus Christ. Our Wheel of Time says there's not enough white actors, so they have to choose black people. What? Like 12%. Just based on statistics, like 12% of the U.S. population is black or African American. They don't have the spirit of woke on their side. We'll see. Zero respect for the saying. The only thing these people care about is making every fucking last piece of fiction what they think America and the West should be like. Yeah. Can't keep their politics out of anything. They're starting to talk about obesity. The U.S. is fucking fat. Yeah. That's not a good thing. No one should think body positively, wow, I'm great that everyone's fat in the U.S. No, people in the U.S. should not be fat. That's not a good thing. I'm overweight, and that's not a good thing, so I try to curb it, and this is my one sugar soda of the day, by the way. That I enjoy while talking to you guys. I sip that beautiful concoction while talking to you guys, having my HFCS for the day. I mean, obesity is massively underreported in all Western nations. You can almost double any reported number and get the real one. I mean, you just go to fucking Europe and people are nearly as fat over there. And once again, it depends on where you live in the U.S. I mentioned before going out west towards California and people are a lot thinner just normally. Everyone in like Minnesota and like Wisconsin's fat as shit. We also like beer and food, so it makes sense, right? Once again, I really hope, because Amazon has their fucking, their clause in this series, that means they might not be able to, someone might not be able to get the rights from his wife to make a new series, another series. I don't know if they can, if they have exclusivity, because there's that one group just like sitting on the Wheel of Time rights for like a decade. They got like the rights to do it, and then basically people had to like Amazon bought the rights from them, I'm pretty sure. They made like one 30-minute episode that was terrible. Absolute garbage just to hang on to the rights. Basically, the same thing as camping on patent camping, stuff like that. Just trying to hang on to it for a payout. Blackwashing. Forgot about that term. That's a good one. Not really the same thing, though. Blackwashing or race bending. I guess it can't be black, by the way. Is the act of taking an originally white character and making them black or a person of color. Yeah. Not just black people, but other minorities such as queer people, neurodivergent people, or people disabled and deserve positive representation. I like how they have a positive take on that, whereas if you did the opposite and make a white or a black person white, people would just literally shit themselves. Forgot about that term. That's a good one, guys. It's the term people don't want you to know, which is basically what happens when you recast people, and it's not necessarily a good thing. Anachronisms. What is this? Thing belonging to and appropriate to a period of other than that which it exists, especially a thing that's conspicuously old-fashioned. Oh, that's a good word. I'm going to add that to my list. Anachronism.
Anachronism.
Anachronism. Totally was right. Or person or thing which seems to belong to a different time period. This my dictionary definition on my phone, by the way, is sterilized comparatively to the definition we're seeing right now on Google. That's fucking fantastic. Fucking sterilized. Like, people just go through, like, with the hose, just like, you know when Corona happened in China, and you saw those guys in, like, the hazmat suits going around, like, the wet market spraying things down with, like, bleach water? That's what it feels like what's happening to, like, just everything, just right now. Just feels like there's people going around with bleach water just trying to sterilize it and make it seem like it's, make it PC. Anachronism. Anachronism. Thing belonging to an appropriate period other than which it exists, especially a thing that is conspicuously old-fashioned, an act of attributing a custom event or object to a period which it does not belong. Yeah. Like, literally just take everything from today and just try to just, like, fucking steamroll it over the top of something else. By the way, this is probably nothing that you're going to see on Twitch of people covering this right now. Is I guarantee you no one that watched that trailer is immediately going to go, huh, these don't seem like the races that were actually supposed to be there. And I think that actually takes away from the story, because Twitch would literally start on fire if they did that. But luckily, we don't have many people watching, so you get to hear that, guys, because I actually read the books, and the books were fucking amazing. But Amazon, as you guys have seen with pretty much everything that's come out of Amazon, it's pretty much garbage, so yeah. On one hand, I agree that ethnic diversity is an agrarian setting lacking rapid transit is either anachronism or nonsense. On the other, sometimes anachronisms in film are necessary concessions to modernity. Stirrups weren't invented when Caesar rode, yet you'll see them an actor playing Caesar ride without them. Level liability, not using them would expose production to require their use. Safety. I recognize it's a weak analogy. Few people are going to know what Roman saddles didn't have stirrups and notice that particular anachronisms, where everyone can see that people supposedly native to a small medieval town don't hail from the same tribe. Yo, weird. Fucking weird. Yeah, like when everyone bangs in a small town, they all look the same. Fucking weird. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I guess I just I know what happens when you put one genetics into someone else's genetics and then they have a genetic baby, right? It just turns out that way. I know it doesn't fit everyone's ideological beliefs, but this is kind of the way it is, right? But putting aside whites only casting calls could not only expose production to liability from equal opportunity lawsuits, bullshit, could also ruin the future career prospects of those responsible for it, regardless of whether they won in court. That's complete bullshit. This is 100% bullshit. I think at this point, a lot of people are starting to realize that completely like blackwashing cast and just completely just making everything as PC and SJW as possible. And I don't use that once again. I'm very much central on a lot of issues. I go both ways, but this is really bad. It's what happens when you end up on the radical side of the spectrum, and then people think that that's just the way it should be. Everything should just be completely hosed down and be sterilized so people don't get the wrong idea when looking at something, regardless of the fact that it doesn't fit the source material at all. It doesn't make sense. Have a diverse... But anachronism is a good word, by the way. And a diverse cast will anger some members of fandom and possibly cause the show to fail earlier than it would otherwise. definitely just lose out on. Once again, if your mom fucks the mailman and you don't look like your dad, that's important, right? That's an important aspect, is that you don't look like your fucking dad. You know? That's the way it works. That's the way it works. I'm sorry, but that's the way it works. And that's like important to the story, is the fact that he doesn't look, he doesn't look like the locals. Yeah, that's important. That's pretty important. But once again, there's a lot to the story, and that's only a small part of it, so it could just be fine anyways. But once again, in Robert Jordan's works, in a lot of his books, there is sexism, there's racism, there's all sorts of bias, there's bigots. Everything you expect in the real fucking world, because people are people, exists in his books, and that's also part of what makes it good. Exists in his books, is he wrote about it, and it's part of like the hierarchy and the interminglings between people. Has a lot to do with their race, ethnicity, how they're born, their lineage, their genetics, just like real fucking life. That's just, and especially medieval real fucking life. That's just the way it works. Anachronism is a good word, but this guy is leaning, hey, we should have this just because it exists. Like, it's good. Now wait until they release the cast for Lord of the Rings. The setting offers no room for diversity, but watch them force it anyway. Oh, fuck yeah. Like, Lord of the Rings today, guys. Fucking Lord of the Rings. Holy shit. Lord of the Rings is almost exclusively white. At least they'll have the movies that can't take that away. They can 100% fucking cancel the original Lord of the Rings movies and then make it so they can't sell them anymore. Holy fucking shit, that'd be hilarious if the original Lord of the Rings movies get canceled. Just be happy we got Lord of the Rings and the original good seasons of got when we did. Yeah, up until the point of season 8, then it made me hate the series, so. Yeah. The Hobbit movies before Poison any of the nonsense. Yeah, they would have been better as like one movie or two movies. Instead, they stretched it to 3. Or was it 4? There's 4 Hobbit movies, wasn't there? They turned the last one into 2? No, that's Harry Potter. No, there's 3. It definitely could have been 2, though. I remember watching the last 2 movies and thinking that it was really slow. I watched that. That's one of the first, one of my first experiences, one of the only experiences I've had with, not HDR, HFR, high frame rate movies, with specifically the Hobbit movies, watching a battle scene in 48 FPS, guys, and being able to simultaneously keep track of 3 things happening on the screen at the same time. I remember the troll escape scene. I went to a theater, traveled across my state to go to a theater that was showing in 48 FPS, and I remember watching, at the time, I remember watching the troll scene, the sequence where they're escaping, and there's 3 battles happening on 3 different levels in different spots at the same time, and you could keep track of every single battle. It was like watching 3 films in one. It was fucking amazing. Amazing. They don't even sell the HFR version of The Hobbit, because the new kids would fucking love that shit. Holy fuck. And everyone at the time was like, this looks too fake, because I can see the fact that they're moving and it's not slow enough where I can like wait for the next frame in my mind. Oh my god, I remember that was back when I was in college, and I remember talking with one of my roommates. Says like, yeah, I fucking love that. I wish every movie, the new Avatar movies are going to be in HFR, is what I think what it's called. Pretty sure it's HFR. That was fucking garbage. Fuck them. HFR, high frame rate. Yes. A lot of these you won't hear about. The Hobbit? Yep. there any way to get the Hobbit movies in HFR? Yeah, this is a big disservice, because that was one of the coolest things about watching it. And there's a lot of TVs, by the way, that support higher than 24 FPS content. So, yeah, like, it is entirely possible to watch that in all its glory on a modern TV, and we don't have it. Walked out of HFR The Hobbit after 10 minutes. Oh my god, it was so bad. I couldn't stand it. Fucking hate old people. It was so fucking amazing. I remember that, and I really wish... When you watch Transformer movies, guys, and there's so much shit happening on the screen you can't keep track of it, and it just all looks like a fucking blurry mess, like, you really... It made me hate, like, the Transformer movies, and remember watching the Hobbit movies and thinking about how good they looked in HFR. It was just fucking fantastic. And any action movie should be shown in HFR. It's not. Woke washing, is this a word? Oh, they deleted themselves. Good. Guess their parents found their Reddit. Is this a thing? Nope. I mean, this is actually literally should be a term if it's not. How brands are cashing in on culture wars. I wouldn't say this is just fucking brands. So they already changed the narrative on basically something that people are doing in industry. Like, this is part of, like, social compliance. Why I talk about social compliance officers. And people are just referring it to being as something that companies are doing, not people. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, woke watching is a handy tool to signal to the viewer that the story will be poorly handled. That's definitely a red flag. We're gonna do this to everything, huh? Can't make Wheel of Time good on television. I do think an anime would 100% be much more in line with what Wheel of Time should be, and I don't think that even if you remade the live-action version of this show already with a different production company like HBO or something, that wouldn't be as willing to just completely change everything about the story to make it appeal to a certain demographic that wants to check boxes. It still is constrained by the fact that it's live action TV. Like, it's people in real life that have to go to real locations to film, and actors that they aren't going to change throughout the season, despite the story covering like 20 some years. It covers a lot of time. Wheel of Time, right? It covers a lot of fucking time. They aren't changing the characters, which is also, I think, a mistake. Amazon found the problem. Yeah, this is what the apprehension that we've read in a bunch of different comments from this trailer here, where there's some people that literally cannot actually, like, they don't want to push the play button because they know this isn't going to go quite right, and not just the usual fuckery, because nowadays we have to deal with PC and social justice warriors. It's just another layer to add on top of basically companies just ruining shit to begin with. They did with The Boys? No. No fucking way. The Boys was extremely heavy on PC bullshit. Even the boys race swapped 2 characters, which 2? The Deep and A-Train swapped races. My take on that was they didn't want a black guy to be the bitch, which is what the Deep turns into. He basically gets raped. You guys missed that. No one talks about that, but in the first season he got raped, so... My take on that right there. Trust me, next year they'll announce that Robert Jordan was a black lesbian. Pike's a really good actor. It says she is 5'7". Moraine was supposed to be 5'2". Yeah, Moraine in the story, I believe, was really fucking short. She's like, not even 5'2". I think she's like 4'8". She's really fucking short. That was like one of her she was supposed to be like, if you can imagine, like, my original take on her, you know, obviously this is from a decade ago. My original take on her was she was something like Princess Leia, only she was like 4'8" and kind of chubby. Her bodyguard, I don't remember his name. Her bodyguard is a fucking beefcake, though. I remember him being like 6'5" or something, 6'4", and fucking ripped. I don't remember his name, though. This is why I've pretty much stopped watching TV movies. They're all shit. I can't be bothered to get into something that I know. Who cares more about virtue points than stories? Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the things. It's not just fucking animes going this way. It's actually kind of refreshing when I encounter a non-PC anime, guys, to be perfectly honest. And furthermore, they've changed anime to like the 12-episode arcs, and that doesn't cut it for like really good stories. 12 episodes isn't enough. This is fucking terrible. Like, it's all TV is like this nowadays. It's like trying to escape from social justice warrior bullshit and PC stuff, and everyone tries to slather it all over every TV series. Why would you take one of the most diverse fantasy series I know about and fuck it up with real-world politics? You know? This is why books will always have power over films. None of the filters, bullshit of studio politics, meddling producers and chairmen, ad exclusives. Yeah, once again, that's also something that you won't see of an anime, by the way, is because at the end of the day, you require a lot less of a budget to produce an anime. They could have thrown the same budget into an anime and it would have been fucking spectacular. Executives want to appear to a wider demographic. It's pure. Right, the actors, creators, brain to yours. Yeah. Books are definitely more so than anime, but once again, books are books and you have to read them, right? And anime is still visual. And basically one of the best forms of visual entertainment, I should say. Because if you talk about entertainment, you could still have audio entertainment, right? Like an audiobook is technically a book, but it's still a different form of entertainment. Just the same way as like books are words, right? You read them off a page. Like literally anyone can be an author. And you don't have to listen to anyone. Wasn't Shell race swapped characters? I guess I generally don't read mangas, so. Manga's another, basically, once again, form of entertainment, right? A visual novel. And people tell me to read mangas when I talk about anime all the time. That's not necessarily something I'm into. Witcher already was still pretty good. Witcher is still pretty good. They balance things, but once again, like, you can't expect any good entertainment really to come out of the US anymore. I think we've reached the point of, like, we've peaked at this point, and now it's just turned into politics. Like, entertainment is literally politics at this point, and you can't have, like, a pure series anymore. Just, like literally just, like, something straight from source material. It has to be politicized. Specifically with things that are good and whatever the company believes in and represents, right? And Amazon wants to appeal to younger demographics. Ghost in the Shell wasn't race swap. Makoto's cyborg body was never clear ethnicity. Neither was the manga or the anime. Her origins are neither explained that much. Ghost in the Shell debacle was mostly SJWs throwing shit fit because they just assumed everyone depicted in the anime set in Japan must look like Japanese. Oh, that's a good one. By the way, if you guys didn't know, unless they're otherwise specified, like anime characters actually like have their own ethnicity. Like they aren't really any ethnicity. Sometimes they'll go out of the way to make them look specifically Japanese, or of a different ethnicity race. But most of the time, like the race of anime characters or manga characters is generally like, even though they're from Japan or wherever the region they might be coming from, like in the setting, like the animation style actually portrays them as like their own ethnicity. J.K. Rowling. Yep. Harry Potter was canceled, guys. You can't watch Harry Potter or read Harry Potter anymore. So sick of blackwashing. Deleted. Naive is just white. Yes, she was, and she's already black in the main story. She's an outside character. She's not from Emmons Field. She was 2 villages over. Once again, very much in the same geographic area. I know anyone that would want their favorite shit books. Yeah, so it was like both good and bad when I read that Amazon picked it up, both because Wheel of Time is a fucking fantastic series, but I also know what Amazon does and what they've been releasing, and I'm not a fan of any of that. I don't know why anyone would want their favorite book series adapted to a TV movie after the Game of Thrones shit show. At least Wheel of Time has an ending, so you aren't relying on the show to tie up loose ends. Yeah. Blackwashing's a big problem. They took the main traits and 5 main characters and applied them. Rand is extremely tall compared to the rest of the cast. They 100% should have multiple cast over the years, over the seasons. They should be changed. Yeah, I know that people are trying to justify it in their mind. There's a word for that, where you try to change stuff in your mind just to make... It's like a way of dealing. It's a way of coping. It's a coping mechanism, way of dealing with stuff. I don't know, things are getting a bit weird. See you guys. Much more beautiful Moraine to be casted. Yeah, I got chilled just because I remember the book, not so much from the trailer though. Yeah? Already, Idowin? So soon? Oh my god, you never last long anymore. Must be getting old. Game of Thrones is fucking terrible. People should stop comparing stuff to Game of Thrones. Is it odd that Rand seems to have nothing to do with the trailer? Or is this series going to be about Ed Seti? So that's both good and bad. One, if the story's told right, that's true. That's 100% the way it should be. If they change things because it's Amazon doing fuck-ups, that's not good. But the story, it's very difficult to actually, like, even in the main story, even though it follows Moraine a lot, like, it was pretty clear that the main characters were Perrin, Rand, and Eugene. Perrin, Rand, Eugene. Oh, Perrin, Matt, and Rand, and Eugene was kind of a side character, but also occasionally follows her. But she's still like a main character, but a side main character. Can't have that. It has to be all about women nowadays, so, you know, can't have a completely male cast. But honestly, that's the way that the story starts out, so. I thought the Emmons Field was supposed to be an isolated backwater. Yep. Interesting the show decided to portray it more like an international city of London or New York with a high level of international immigration. Yep. Yep. Like, imagine going to a hillbilly town in, like, Texas. Well, maybe not Texas. A hillbilly town in, like, Wisconsin or Iowa, and then expecting there to be a high amount of diversity. Yep. We have 3,000 people in this town, and yeah, everyone knows everyone. Less than that, 300 people in this town, everyone knows each other. And the town in this series is like, there's like 50 people in the town, less than that, 20. I have high hopes, but I admit the casting is throwing me off. The scenes shown in the trailer, I can already tell it's going to deviate strongly from the books. Yeah, we'll see. This could just be a concession that has to be made for modern entertainment, which is what I'm hoping. It might just be a concession, but it also might just be fucking terrible because it's Amazon. And they also blackwashed Dune. Both the main characters are white, and one of them's African American, or maybe more so a person of color. It depends. When you say African American, a lot of people imagine people just being completely dark or black, right? When in actuality, you know, it's a wide spectrum. Whereas white people are apparently just white now, so we can be stereotyped appropriately. My mother loved these books. That's kind of the weird thing is, like, even though, like, it's sexist, racist, there's sexism, racism, bigots, all the bad things in the world in the series, like, it still garners a really large, very diverse audience. Like, people, like, it's a good book. It's not a good book, it's a good series. Which is why it really sucks if they decide that they have to fucking just go over it with their social compliance steamroller and just fuck everything up. Spoilers. Spoilers! Don't read that. When people say wake me up for, like, basically the climax of a series, the whole reason it was a climax was because you got through the parts that were slower to begin with, right? It ramps up. You don't just go to the climax. That's not it, you know? It's like, you know, getting off, right? You have a climax, and you get off to it, but if you just go straight there, it's not nearly as good. It's the way it works with everything in life, is there's build-up to the climax. That's what makes it good. You just don't start out and just be like, well, I better just have my instant gratification and get out of here. That's fantastic. Wow. Why am I not enjoying stuff in life anymore? I don't fucking know. I just wanted to fire off more serotonin and dopamine, guys. Just hang on here while I fire these neurons in my brain. Bzzz. Oh, wow. For some strange reason, I'm at maximum, guys. It just doesn't do anything for me anymore. Wow. I hate life now. Jesus Christ. I wish you could easily send links to another... See if this works. Oh, nope. Let's see. It's kind of amazing that it's still so difficult to send stuff between different computers, guys, in this day and age. Literally just have to fucking type it in. There we go. Okay. Yeah, like I'm excited. I am definitely excited, but at the same time, where are the Ed City dresses with all the frilly lace and embroidery? I don't think they start out that way. I think Moraine, when she shows up, doesn't look that way. if I recall. She tries, like, she's like undercover. Shadowbone fucking sucked dick. Is like literally a more PC version of Twilight. That was fucking terrible. I watched that. That was garbage. This leaves a lot of room for an anime, though, guys. To be perfectly honest, I think honestly an anime could completely blow the series away just on the curtails of the publicity surrounding this if they did it right. Wish I had money to make one. Fuck. There's a lot of things that I want to do, guys, and I don't have the fucking money to do it. Yeah, they're gonna lose a lot. Like Robert Jordan, when he told the series, like people are talking about these little details that you wouldn't otherwise, like dresses, cloaks, about embroidery, things that he told in vivid detail in his story are stuff that they're in no way like. I don't think the people that even like are writing this right now, like this TV adaptation, they probably glanced over the source material. Like there's so much stuff in the books that they're literally just going over me. I mean, that might be good if this tanks, because it means that the IP will be open. But if it doesn't tank, which it probably won't because the source material is that fucking good. Yeah, this reminds me when at the beginning of Game of Thrones, like these kind of comments, guys, where people just immediately knee-jerk at the idea of something without actually taking into context, like everything that's happening around them, reminds me kind of like what happened with Game of Thrones Season 8, where everyone's cheering at every single episode till it was like at the end of the series and they're like the last episode and they're like, that didn't make sense. Same sort of shit where everyone just literally just immediately goes off a knee-jerk. Honestly, I kind of hope that people with the publicity from this, like people actually go out and read the books and then watch the series and kind of get kind of weirded out just by the differences that they're doing. So excited, nervous for the show. It's been reading all the books except finishing the last one for 8 years now. I couldn't finish the last one because I didn't want it to end. Oh, that's when you know you have a good show, guys. Good TV, not show, good material. Like, good animes, guys. Like, really good animes, and you know the end's coming, and you don't want it to end because it's that fucking good. No, it doesn't really matter that much, but why change the logo? Yeah, I didn't really get that either. One. They had to do their artist got pissy and had to do it. From the books. That's not it. It's the wheel. It's the wheel with the snake, and they changed it. That guy. And then they changed it to this. This looks like Game of Thrones shit. Where's the fucking wheel? It's incorporated with the wheel. It makes a symbol, you fuck. The snake is the wheel? Okay, I get it. Your artist literally took their own interpretation of what was already an interpretation of symbolism. I got it. I got it. Why the fuck did you do it now? But once again, probably one of the lesser concessions is literally the logo. Like, their artist didn't need to redo what an artist already did in the source work. I agree with that. I want to see Gambling Matt so much. Indescribable. It's indescribable. Is this a word?
Indescribable.
Indescribable? I didn't know indescribable was spelled that way. There's no E, guys. It's just an A. Indescribable. There's no E there. Won't remain 100% faithful. Yeah, we're at probably about 70% right now, so we'll see. Oh, I finally got the link that I sent to my other computer, guys. Cool. There he is. So if you guys didn't know, there's a little button. When you click on your bar here, this right here, you can click it and you can send this page to a different one of your computers on your network or to your devices. It's pretty handy. You can also turn it into a QR code and then you can scan it on your phone so you can send it to your phone. Also very handy. It took them forever to add that too. "16 one-hour episodes per season, minimum, or be marked with a dragon's fang." Yeah, so it actually sounds like there's there is 8 episodes in the first season, and it covers maybe possibly 1.5 books. Wow. Fucking terrible. Dude, I really, really hope a fucking Japanese studio picks up these books and turns it into a source, like turns it into an anime. Oh my god, I wish that so much. I've mentioned this before. I don't think, honestly, when I've talked about Wheel of Time before, when this was first announced, I don't think it's possible, even putting aside Amazon, what Amazon's going to do to it, I don't think it's possible that a live-action TV series could take into account everything that Wheel of Time should be. The Thrones killed itself at the end. It's not an opponent. I don't know what this is, but it looks so good. There's some people, by the way, guys, that literally have, like, they're basically husks of people, and they just base their reactions off what everyone else is reacting around them. They're like, what? What? They're saying it's good. It must be good. Oh my god, it's so good. Do you see all the hype here, guys? Wow, it must be fucking fantastic. All I'm seeing is hype. Oh my god, it's making me hypey. I don't know. We'll see, guys. I wouldn't say even cautiously optimistic as much as hopeful that it doesn't turn into a train wreck that it probably is going to. I'm hopeful. I don't even think I'm pretty sure we're at 70% of concession. It basically is 70% of source material at this point, and we'll go down from there. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of non-PC topics that need to be covered in this series, and I don't think Amazon's willing to do that because it might hurt their demographics, their polling numbers with certain demographics. There we go. Yeah. Let's move on, guys. I wanted to see that, guys. I wanted to show that to you guys, and cautiously optimistic. Not.
Be strong. The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. The power inside you. All over the world, there are different names for it. But it's one thing. One power. And women who can touch it. We protect the world.
No matter what happens, what pain we face, what heartbreak, the wheel keeps turning. The Dark One is coming for your friends.
The last battle is coming. The only thing that matters is what you do.
Whatever happens now, there's no turning back.
I wonder how much it costs to make an anime series. Comparative, they said it was $10 million per episode. They're set to spend $80 million in season 1, $10 million per episode. I'm pretty sure anime is not anywhere, shape, or form close to that. But it's around maybe $5 million for like a 12-episode series. And then I'm sure this varies a lot. $2 million. $2 fucking million for 13 episodes. And I'm guessing that's just for like a... I'm guessing that's just for like your typical anime, not for anything fancy. And you could probably make it for less than that too, because I've seen a lot of shitty anime, like animation quality, but they can still tell a story if the source material's there. $120. 13 million. That's fucking cheap as shit, guys. That would explain why there's so much anime. It's because the ROI, the amount of shit that they have to sell in order to make that back is actually really fucking cheap. That's so for the same cost of a 13 episode anime, that's like a fifth of an episode of live action TV that they're spending on Wheel of Time. Dude, imagine if they spent the same budget on anime. Holy fucking shit. I honestly wonder, like, what level, depending on how much money you dump into anime, how good something could eventually be based on, like, the amount of animators that they have working on it. I don't know, if, like, it might reach one of those things where too much is a good thing. Like, they have too many animators, and it's, like, you can't really get past a certain threshold. But I honestly wonder how much detail you could add to an anime, because anime itself doesn't really run at... it's not like 30 FPS. It's like the internal anime, depending on the anime, changes. It's like fucking like 8 or like 16, and they only do certain parts of the show. That's one of the big things that people criticize about anime versus Western animation, such as cartoons, as cartoons generally have more fluidity, which is bullshit, by the way, depending on the series you're talking about. Probably one of the best examples of cartoons in terms of animation quality was Final Space. And other than that, like I watched Indestructible, and it was animation's pretty garbo, except for a couple scenes in there, it's pretty garbo. That's cheap as fucking shit, guys. Holy fuck. Dude, if I was a billionaire and I had a couple billion to throw around, please just do the Wheel of Time. Just employ an animation studio for a couple decades to produce it. Dude, a 24 episode anime for each season. Oh my god. You have to consider the fact that each anime episode is generally only 20 minutes, and if you want to do 1 hour episodes, that takes even longer, right? I think that's kind of what they did with Gundam Zero. I think it was. No. Unicorn. Unicorn basically was like eight or 9 movies spanning like 7 years, 6 years. Unicorn, so fucking incredible. Yeah, because there's literally movies. Each one of the episodes was basically a movie. Unicorn sales of each OVA could be fed back into each next film to keep it going, so the cost of Sunrise wasn't nearly as expensive up front as one of the bigger movies were. Definitely wasn't Seed. They're talking about just like your go-to like popular series in the U.S. Seed was pretty popular in the U.S. Seed was relatively good. Wing was made specifically for the U.S. to get people in the U.S. into it, with just throwing randoms, just like more weapons on Gundams. Miyazaki's last movie cost $30 million. It's a movie. $600 per month while working 15-hour days. There aren't many mecha animators left. I'm not sure how that'd be different from normal animators. Oh no, they don't specialize in mecha. They can't draw mecha, guys. It's foreboding! The work is all done in-house by Sunrise, a division of Bandai, and as far as I know, they keep animators on staff, just keep moving them from show to show. Enough manga, gunplay, OVAs, yeah, they do. There's a whole ecosystem designed around Gundam. The Gundam universe itself is fucking huge, and it's a lot of overlapping, like they have their own specific universe that certain Gundams are and aren't a part of, because there's a shitload of them. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys. Like, I want to be interested in this, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure I know where this is gonna go.